Well, hello everyone, Philosopher Stoner. So, I was eating a bag with some donuts in it. You see that bag down there? It's sort of, the wind is really strong. You can see the waves, and you can hear the wind. And it flew out of my hand and it blew, and I ran to chase it, and then now it's in the fucking water, so I'm filming it. And now it's too late now. It's litter, it's pollution, it's terrible. I don't like it, but who knows where it's gonna wind up now? Maybe it'll wind up on shore with the current and everything. This is a canal. I'm not gonna specify where, but this is like a fish spawning ground, and it's monitored. It connects to the lake, and then this is like a harbor. There's a harbor, so there's the lake, and then the harbor, and then this connects into an inlet. And this, if you follow this by canoe, it gets you to another town near where I live. If you keep going that way, you can't see where I'm fucking pointing, but yeah, if you go that way. So yeah, it's pretty neat. There's a canal and a bridge and flowers and junk and slime, and go over this way and film it a bit more. Always found it interesting how what the fuck was I saying? How the lakes have moods. I've come here on days and this water is completely calm. On the other side of where the actual harbor is, not this inlet through the canal, it's actually, the water is calm. I might film it later. And then on this side it's windy. And it's, every time I come, it's different. Even though it's the same spot, it's the same area, different clouds, different look. I come here different times of day, in the evening. Right now it's like mid-afternoon. It's interesting how you have the same, even though it's the same thing, and I'm doing the same stupid walk over and over and over again. It's always different. And I'm learning more and more to just accept, simple things and not making everything too complicated. I was having some nostalgic dreams past couple of days, remembering my childhood. Almost made me cry like a little bitch. But yeah, remembering going to, there was this place in Toronto. That's where I used to live. That's where I'm from. Ontario place that's now closed. There was a comic book shop I used to go to, the Silver Snail. There were all these things I used to do, going to the beach. I remember going up northern Lake Simcoe in Canada. It's this place called Wasaga Beach, the beach. Going to the pool. With all the shutdowns and lockdowns and everything, I have only been swimming 2 times this summer, and I miss it, and I miss the beach, and I miss stuff like that. But the pools and stuff are closed. There is one pool that's open, but it's indoors, and you have to wear a mask going to the fucking pool. I mean, it's absolutely retarded. And I was even thinking about these masks and all this, COVID bullshit. And I understand wearing a mask in like a grocery store or a bank or someplace that's a public space that's shared by like a lot of people, right? But if you're wearing a mask all the time, like everywhere you go, like what they're telling you you're supposed to do, if you're not getting, some sunshine every day and going for a walk and doing a little bit of exercise, and if you're not regularly socially interacting, even just a little bit with people, like your transactions, right, like going to the convenience store or the store or whatever, if you're not, socially in contact with people every day, and your face is covered and you're not breathing in the air and you're not exercising and you're not doing anything, your immune system just shuts down. I think in the end, the long-term effects of the mask wearing and all this shit, it's just going to make us sicker. Like, maybe COVID's a threat, maybe it's not. I mean, I don't know. I'm not an epidemiologist or a scientist, but there's all kinds of pathogens in the air, and a lot of that stuff we're already immune to. But there's spores in the air for mushrooms, believe it or not, that we just don't breathe in, that they don't grow on us or grow in our lungs because of how they are. But there's all kinds of shit in the air that we don't see with the naked eye that we're breathing in, and we're supposed to breathe it in. We build up a natural immunity to things here. You know, not everything. I mean, ultimately, in the end, something is going to come along and kill us. You know, some pathogen, some disease, something's going to make us sick. And something will, you know, knock our chess piece off the board here a little bit. But I don't know. It's, yeah, like, and most people are, you know, ignoring it. I notice, other than in the stores where they're making it mandatory now to wear masks and stuff. People walking on the street, people on this trail and stuff we've had enough. We've had enough of this bullshit. That there's something fucky going on, and I don't quite know what it is. But you know, I guess I'm turning into more and more one of the tinfoil hat conspiracy theory people. But yeah, I don't know. Something going on. Doesn't smell right. There's things, Event 201 and Agenda 21 and all this shit that I'm reading into that I don't know if it's true or not. Honestly, I don't know who the fuck to believe anymore. But I don't know. It's like people are retarded. I used to wear like a respirator. I have it in my closet at home. I think I've talked about this before. I don't even really remember. But a heavy-duty respirator that has like a carbon filter. And it was for cleaning these blast furnaces at the steel plant in the town where I live. And yeah, heavy duty thing to prevent you from all the toxic shit in the air. Really toxic air up there. So you have to wear one of these as a safety thing. You know, how come we're not wearing those? A little piece of cloth, you know, a little piece of cloth is going to protect you. I don't think it's doing anything. And then if you're 6 feet apart, you know, what if you're 6 feet, 1 inch? What if you're an inch off? Like you're an inch or two forward or an inch or two backward? Does it make a difference if this virus is in the air? I mean, a lot of it is just for people to have a sort of diluted sense of control over things that we can't control. You know, if it's in the air, you know. And like I said, a little piece of cloth, and it's supposed to protect us. And the Ernest Becker people are talking about how this thing has just triggered in us a kind of mass hysteria, a death anxiety, where we're losing our sense, where we've been thinking the last 50 years perhaps that we're somehow invincible. It's like death is an anomaly or something, when no, death is all we do here. All we do is die. And yeah, something is going to kill us, and I don't know, but I think in the end, yeah, wearing the mask and doing all this stuff, if you're doing it like 100% of the time and you're not, you know, breathing in the air and doing stuff, your immune system's going to shut down and something else is just going to come and get you. If it's not COVID, it's going to be something else. And I'm reading reports, this is old news now, in Kazakhstan, there's some kind of a flu that they don't know what the fuck it is, and reports of another bird flu coming out of China. These fucking dirty chinks with all their fucking shit. And it's like Trump says, it came from China. China. I don't even really like Trump, but some of the time he's funny, you know. I'm more and more becoming not fond of him, not like in love with him, but some of the things, it's this principle I've always held, that a broken clock is right twice a day. He was getting interviewed by these reporters, and these people in the media are such vicious wolves. You know, he answered the reporter's question, and he's like, okay, you know, next question, next reporter. And the reporter just kept going, just kept fucking talking. He's like, no, I've answered your question, next question, please. And the reporter just fucking kept going and kept going. And then he was like, all right, everybody, goodbye. And then he walked out of there. And you know what? Like, I would have done the same thing. Like, I guess what I've said before is that, yeah, what we're responding to in people like Trump or others is it's this rhetorical device. Well, I don't know if that's the proper term, rhetorical device, but he's an alpha male, or at least he's putting on the persona of an alpha male. Aggressive, assertive, tough, disciplined. And it's something that's because we come from primitive hunter-gatherer tribes, that's what we respond to. And there's a real lack, a real scarcity of alpha males in our society. It's even in True Detective with Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson, the lead character, Rust Cole, That's what's effective about his verbiage, his character. He's an alpha male, aggressive, assertive. He's also a cop. He's a voice of authority. And so he's saying stuff that most people would find really controversial, like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have any babies. And a lot of the stuff he's saying, yeah, he's kind of emo, he's depressing, right? But he's effective in measure to the certainty that he can put out there. And he even talks about it. There's the scene where he talks about, you know, what's the average IQ of the people at this, he's going to like this preacher rally. He's like, safe to say that these people won't be splitting the atom anytime soon and blah, 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 blah. And, you know, he's like humbug on religion and everything. That's his character. What he's talking about, catharsis and projecting certainty and everything as the preacher, that's his role in the story. He becomes the preacher of the story. It was also the same with the film I talked about already before, Gotti, with Armand Assante from 1996. And he's the mafia boss, John Gotti, talking about the decline in values of the society, the lack of standards, the lack of boundaries and parameters. And even though he's an evil character, he's also an alpha male, and he projects a lot of certainty. And so rhetorically, he's effective. It's cathartic. We find catharsis in his narrative, lamenting the declining values in a collapsing world. And so it's the same thing with Trump. He's an alpha male, and there don't seem to be a lot of them these days. And as I've said before, if there were some other alpha male with some kind of other vision and some kind of other mission to vote for, yeah, I would vote for that guy in 2 fucking seconds. Like, Trump is a shady real estate developer. He said creepy stuff about his daughter. There's photos that I keep seeing. There was a photo I looked at recently of him with that Ghislaine Maxwell, where she's wearing a green with the spiral, the pedophile spiral, sort of very close to the pedophile spiral on her jacket. And it's like, I think he was involved at some low level. He was aware of something going on, but he's managed to sort of, with the Trump people, make it seem like he's going to do the big pedophile roundup and round up all the assholes in Hollywood and everything, and that he was somehow, he's portrayed himself as if he's somehow not a part of the elite, which is kind of bullshit, right? He inherited all those properties in New York, and he's a mediocre, shitty businessman, and a lot of things. He's got a lot of flaws. Like I said, I'm not madly in love with Trump, but his persona that he's putting out there, his chutzpah, his gravitas, his moxie is what people are responding to, because, yeah, there aren't a lot of other guys. Like Kanye West supposedly did a bid for the presidency. You know, fucking Kanye West. And then you got, in California, they had there for the governor for a bit, Arnold Schwarzenegger. You got all these fucking reality TV, stars and musicians and artists and people, trying to get into politics when we really should they be the fucking leaders of the country. It's a bit ridiculous. It all seems to be collapsing, but the problem is it's the people suck, right? The people suck, and I've maybe said it before, but it's everybody's a beta looking for an alpha to follow. People don't want to solve their own problems. They want some other person to save them and save themselves. And I'm not a survivalist or a cold-hearted monster or anything, but at the end of the day, the message, and this was a friend of mine, one of my mother's former boyfriends, told this to me, because I think he was getting fed up with me calling him all the time and everything. But he's like, yep, self-reliance is the key. And unfortunately, it's always been that way, that, yeah, Trump will not save you. Joe Biden definitely is not going to save you. He can barely stutter out a sentence. Bernie Sanders ain't going to save you. No one's going to save you. No one's going to solve your problems. No one's going to do it for you. You kind of got to be, I'm trying to adopt more and more and more the lone wolf attitude. Although I'm not much of a lone wolf. I'm definitely not an alpha male, but yeah, I don't know, I'm sort of going off on a million different tangents and talking about a million different things, but it's just, yeah, like, it's all a big mess because, yeah, people just don't want to take any responsibility. Everybody's looking for the other guy to solve it. No one wants to pay for it. Everybody thinks there's a free lunch somehow, and yeah, you know what? There's no free lunch. Like, I'm more and more sympathetic, not to the argument that life is suffering, it's that life is expensive, that I could find a million things to do and never be bored here. I just don't like the price of everything. I can think of a million different erotic, sexual scenarios that I'd like to play out, but yeah, they're just too preposterously expensive. I can think of, yeah, I'd love a yacht and a private island and, you know, fuck some bitches and all sorts of things, right? What red-blooded male with a dick would say no, right? But it's just it's all too expensive. With, you know, there's children dying of cancer and, you know, turmoil in the Middle East and war, and every fucking headline I'm reading these days is decidedly negative. I'm reading about in Iowa and the Midwest, the Corn Belt, all sorts of crop failures and storms, and they figure like a 30% reduction in the crop. And it's happened before, but, you know, talking about food shortages, supply lines being all fucked up, turmoil in Asia. Russia is threatening possibly nuclear war if the U.S. gets any fucky ideas. That Putin guy is acting all tough now. Just all sorts of negative. Every headline I read is negative. That I don't know what I'm going to title this video, but yeah, it's really prepare yourself and become as self-reliant as possible. You know, like in the event of a zombie apocalypse or a nuclear war, it's over. Like I will not participate in total barbarism or the Mad Max world, but I'm taking a lot of measures to make myself more independent. I've bought a thing. It's a solar panel with a generator thing, a power pack, and it's enough on a single charge of the battery. You can power like an appliance, like a refrigerator or a TV or whatever for like 7 hours. So it's not going to power your whole house, but it's energy independence, it's portable, it's foldable. Take it anywhere. You can have a car or an RV or something. I bought a thing called a Berkeley, USA Berkeley filter, which is like this water jug, like a couple of gallons that you can put the water in it. You can take like water like that, you know, lake water or stream water, and put it in, and with these filters, it'll filter it and it'll be like tap water. And then also, you know, you boil it or whatever. But yeah, you know, the fluoride in the water, everything. There was a scandal in the city where I live called Sewergate, where all the sewage was leaking into the water. And us Canadians, we have a lot of fresh water up here. We're used to our clean water. And yeah, I don't trust it anymore. I've invested my money in a real estate company that pays me out a dividend in preferred shares. So my money is not in the collapsing banking system and economic system as much as possible. They're using strategies that I took real estate courses that I know that they can make money consistently and pay me my 12%. I got, you know, money in gold and silver. I got that. I got some money in Bitcoin. You know, I'm taking every precaution that I can to I've used this expression before, but to go off the reservation as much as possible. Just, yeah, going off the reservation, that the civilization is declining, it's collapsing. All sorts of problems, a welfare state, all of these extremely entitled people, universal basic income people. And I mean, the problem with that, right, is if you go on the UBI, if something that the control system, if you do something they don't like, they turn off your debit card, they turn off your payment, and then you can't participate. You know, the AI, the electronic money, this trend now where they want to have a digital currency all over the place for everything. All of this addiction to credit and debt in the economy. And I've talked about this many times in my other videos, but I'm talking about the same thing, it seems, over and over and over again. But it's this, yes, it's this sense of a decline, of a collapse, of a, you know, a lack of standards, a lack of parameters, of yeah, even, you know, going off the reservation, detoxing my brain. I don't watch Netflix anymore. My phone, I'm getting a thing, it's a pouch that blocks signals for tracking and stuff. And that the next phone I get won't be a smartphone, it'll be a burner phone. And I want maybe a phone that's a sort of a smartphone that has, you know, like the calculator and calendar and flashlight and stuff like that. But all of these apps, you know, Snapchat and Facebook and Instagram and all of this shit, it's all poison. You know, it's all people are. You're going on there for like a secondhand ego gratification, and we're all egotistical narcissists, and we only care about ourselves. You know, I've never had like I've posted stuff of all my travels all over the world. No likes. Nobody cares. Nobody cares what I'm doing or what I'm saying or my post or my status or anything. There's not any fucking use to it. I've been trying with the e-commerce to put out an ad on Facebook, and you know, bullshit. My ad didn't get approved, but instead of just saying no, you can't post this ad, they completely disable my account. So I can't edit anything, I can't do anything. No explanation why, no fair trial, no witnesses, no number to call, no technical support, no call center. The company that I dealt with to set up these pages for the e-commerce, Samcart, email support, but it's been weeks now, like no response. I've sent them like 4 emails, no response. I guess they don't like the fact that I'm complaining, and it's like they're saying, you know, yeah, fuck you, we got your money, you know, fuck you, no number to call, there's an address for an office. And you know, I understand why people go postal. Like, if I didn't have the voice of my mother and father all the time saying, you know, they ain't worth it, William, you have potential, you can do something, you can be somebody, I'd be going to these places with a fucking gun and saying, hey, you know, fucking smarten up. You know, fucking answer your email. But it's just all, yeah, these tech people. I've mentioned before the creepy robots at Facebook that are security that look like friggin' Daleks. You know, like all these little Hitlers that, you know, there's no accountability. Nobody's in charge. All the stuff on, like, I was reading about Wayfair. And now they're alleging on this Wayfair, which is like this site you can go, it's sort of like eBay, you can buy stuff on, that there's all sorts of creepy stuff of furniture being sold, that the furniture, they're all named after missing children, and they think it's like some sort of a pedophile ring, where there's the furniture, and then the furniture is priced at these outrageous prices like $10,000, $20,000 for a cabinet, it's, you know, $6,000 for a pillow. It's all really fishy on this site Wayfair. And they're covering it up, and all of these I mentioned in my last video, like Shadowgate and A Child's Voice, all of these banned documentaries, all these little Hitlers on the internet getting to decide what you read, what information you have access to. Doesn't matter what your political affiliation is, all the fake news, all of the social media and technology and the agenda of big tech towards the singularity of merging with the microchip and merging human consciousness with machine consciousness. Yeah, I think it's all very sick and very evil, very, dystopian. It's this agenda moving forward where, yeah, all of this stuff is bad news. And as I've said already, you know, as much as possible, get off. I'm detoxing my brain from all of it. I'm deleting a lot of accounts. I'm not participating anymore, and I'm not giving these assholes any more of my fucking money. I still post onto YouTube because I do this as, like, it's cathartic for me. It's a video journal. I'm too lazy to write an actual journal, and it's a hobby. But yeah, even this platform, YouTube, it sucks. And I've tried to go on BitChute and DLive and stuff, and I was trying to post videos on BitChute and not being able to post them for some reason. So I've kind of given up with the whole social media thing and the whole internet thing. It really is for the birds. And everybody online, everybody's a fucking asshole, and everybody hides behind a cartoon character, and, you know, you try to reciprocate with somebody and you get fucking death threats, and everybody's neurotic, and we're just turning into these fucking neurotic, scumbag, weirdo pieces of crap, you know? It's just all the worst elements of humanity all over the place on the internet. It's just bringing out the worst of us. And, you know, I'm not a Luddite, I'm not a member of the Amish, but, you know, maybe they're a bit right. I don't know. Maybe Fyodor Kaczynski, or whatever the fuck you say his name, the Unabomber, in his treatises that he wrote, the Unabomber Manifesto, where he talked about the emerging technocracy. He was a smart guy. He was a genius. Maybe he was onto something. And his critique of the modern political left is very poignant, especially in this day and age. Like, I consider myself a member of the old left. Like, I'm very pro-union. I'm pro-rights for working people, rights and privileges for working people, within reasonable limits, right? You shouldn't be able to have a job where you can't get fired. You know, you should do your job. It's about having a work ethic. a fair day's pay for a fair day's work. But yeah, like I said, old left, but it seems elements of the old left are merging onto the new right. Like I read Breitbart and more of the right-winger stuff, and there's like 10-20% of the time they sound like fucking Noam Chomsky, and I like Noam Chomsky. He's and Hedges, Christopher Hedges, and they're members of the old left. They're leaning more towards anarchism and Marxism, and they're principled guys, they're good guys. And yeah, the modern left is these Facebook fake liberal Democrat, fake liberal people. Yeah, they're fucking, the more and more I'm looking into it, the more evil they are. Like it's like I said, it's not even that I'm in love with Trump or in love with some of these right-wing assholes, but yeah, they're fucking scum. Like voting for Joe Biden, no way, he's a puppet. But it's all a mess. Like in the end of the day, like I said, as much as you can, get out of the system as much as you can. Jeff Bezos ain't paying any taxes and the civilization's crumbling. You shouldn't either. I'm not saying don't pay your taxes. I pay taxes. I do agree we should all have to pay some kind of taxes to pay for the infrastructure of this civilization, but do everything in your power to pay the minimum in a legal, and of course in a legal way. I'm not saying break the law, but as much as possible, get off the reservation. Invest in a company, find people that you trust and have a business and have a cash flow, and try to be more independent as much as possible. Grow your own garden, have your own solar panels, have your own water filtration and air filtration and your own gear, and have your own firearms and guns and ammunition, and, try to, be self-sufficient. And yeah, I realize that, the government isn't going to take care of you. The big bad central banking cartel is not going to take care of you. The evil corporations aren't going to take care of you. There's an agenda going forward here. That's it. That's all dystopian. That's all bad news. Do whatever you can. I guess that's the point. And I know I've, like I said, all over the place, but yeah, I get to thinking when I go on these walks and stuff. Anyway, that's enough for now. Philosopher Stoner out.